Hi, I'm Professor Linney. As you know from the announcements, this week's lecture from me is pre-recorded because I'll be traveling during the nights this week, so I'm unable to do a live session. So I'm giving you this pre-recorded session. I will be available to answer questions for a brief period of time on Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. So join me if you have questions, and I can answer them live for you. But of course, I will have access to email and the course, so you can post questions on the Ask Questions page for me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. It's just my time is going to be a little off from your time because I'm traveling in Europe. Okay, so I want to welcome you to the class, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about me in case you haven't had time to look at the Meet Your Instructor video yet. So again, I'm Professor Linney. I've been here at Kaiser since 2006, so it's been quite a while now. And I teach American literature, of course. I also teach contemporary world literature, English literature, and basic English. And I am heavily involved in the course design for all of those courses. So I'm very familiar with Blackboard, as well as the course content, of course. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I can help you accomplish tasks in Blackboard, and of course I can answer questions about the assignments and the course content. Okay, so in the next 4 weeks, we're going to be looking at American literature. So we're going to look at a lot of different types of literature. Another word for that is a genre, category of literature. Okay, so things such as letters or essays, fiction, nonfiction, those are all genres or types of literature. This term, we're rolling out a brand new version of the course, so I hope you're as excited about it as I am. If you are familiar with the way the course is laid out before, whether you have attempted the class before or if you know other people who have, we used to go in chronological order. So we would start from early American literature and work our way forward. So we've scrapped that and decided to do a whole new approach, and now we're organizing our works thematically around the idea of the American dream. So this week we're going to look at the origins of the American dream and the American identity. And then in weeks 2 and 3 we're going to look at groups who are traditionally excluded from the American dream. You'll see them listed here. And then in week 4 we're going to revisit our concept of the American dream and also look at what it means to be a citizen of the world. Okay, so what you're going to be doing, you're going to learn some literary terms that will help you analyze literature. You're going to learn about important literary movements in American literature. You're going to practice critical thinking. You're going to do all that while reading a bunch of really great literature. Okay, so just some important policies I want to make sure that you are familiar with. I do have a late work policy. Everything except discussions can be submitted late. Okay, and it will be a 5-point penalty. Okay. Exceptions beyond that can be made for extreme circumstances, and you and I can figure that out on a one-on-one basis if the need arises. Okay? Discussions can never be made up late, okay? Because you can't have an exchange of ideas if you're the only one posting in the forum, if you're doing that after everybody else is gone. Okay? So discussions have to be done in the week that they're due. There is a no research policy for this class. You have enough to do without worrying about research. Okay, so I'm interested in critical thinking. I want to know what you think and why. I want to know your process for reaching the conclusions that you do. Okay, so do not use any research. Not on a website, not from the library. Okay, there are no exceptions to that. And going along with that, there is a no plagiarism policy, of course, for all classes at Kaiser, but I need you to know that I do follow the university's guidelines as they're written. So the first instance results in a 0 for the assignment. The second one is a failure of the class. Okay, and again, there are no exceptions. I do not allow a redo of work that has problems with plagiarism. Okay, so most importantly, I am here to guide you and help you with any questions or concerns that you have, so please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Okay, as I said, I'm traveling, but I have access to email, I have access to the course, and I can get back to you within 24 hours, always. Okay, so ask me anytime you have a question. So let's look at how the course is designed. I've already told you that it's organized around the theme of the American Dream. But you'll find a list of learning activities for each week. Okay? Once you click on week 1 on the left navigation bar, you will see a couple of modules there, and you'll see the learning activities. It is a list of items that are due that week. So things you have to do are all going to be listed there. I would really recommend printing that out and using it like a checklist so that you know that you've got everything completed. Okay, so each week you're going to have a module about the American Dream. There'll be a lecture to kind of ground you in the American Dream. This week you'll be looking at the origins of the American Dream. What does it mean? How was it developed? Okay. And then you're going to complete an activity. It's only an acknowledgement that you have reviewed the material. You are not going to be quizzed on the content, but it is important for you to have a passing working knowledge of it to put the readings into context. Okay? So very low stakes kind of thing. Review the lecture, and then you'll have a quiz. It says, I have reviewed the lecture, and you just put true, and you get 100 for that grade. Okay, so that's the American Dream lecture. You have one of those every week. You will have in weeks 1 and 2 a module called Literary Analysis Tools. Those modules are going to help teach you how to write a literary analysis essay. That will be your final exam for the course. So these modules are really important. In week 1, you're going to practice, you'll learn how and practice integrating direct quotes to support your claims. In week 2, you'll practice integrating and citing paraphrased quotes. Okay, you're going to need to apply the skills in those modules in the discussion. Okay, so make sure to complete them. Okay, so once you do that, you'll get to the discussion, and you'll have 2 posts. That's it. Okay. You'll have an initial post about the works that we're reading, and then you'll respond to a classmate. Okay? In weeks 1 and 4, you're going to have 2 discussions to complete. You'll notice this week you have one called Introduction. Normally, we just do an introduction and you're not graded on it. This class, you are graded on your introduction discussion because you're going to introduce yourself to the class, and then you're going to describe your feelings about the American Dream. Okay, and then in week 4, you're going to participate in the regular discussion, and then you'll have a wrap-up discussion. Okay, you'll have a wrap-up discussion where you will revisit your ideas about the American Dream. Okay. Each week you'll have a readings and authors quiz. That's a quiz to make sure that you've read the readings. So you'll have test your understanding. You'll have questions about the plots of the stories that we're reading. You'll also be quizzed on your knowledge of the authors. So be sure that you've completed all the assigned readings. So that is a story, for example, and the biography of the author. Okay, those are listed on the assigned readings for each week. And you'll also have a lecture about the authors that you need to complete before attempting the quiz. And you'll see it, it's all in the module. You'll see a module called Readings and Authors. And then when you click on that, you'll see the module containing the lecture, and then you'll have the quiz. So you have up to 3 attempts for the quiz. Your highest grade will be counted. Okay, so again, it's kind of low stakes. Take it once, and if you're not happy with your grade, take it again. Okay, your highest grade is counted. So if you get a 90 the first time and you want to go for 100, do it. Even if you scored 80 the second time, the 90 is the highest grade. That's the one that'll be counted, okay? So you can attempt it up to 3 times. Okay, you'll also have a module about literary terms. So you'll learn about terms we use when we evaluate literature. You'll also be learning about literary movements. Okay, and then you'll have a quiz at the end of that module. Again, you're allowed 3 attempts with your highest grade being counted. Something new we've put into the class are creative writing assignments. So you're going to have 3 of them in weeks 1, 2, and 4. Okay, we're skipping week 3, and I'll explain why in a minute. So in weeks 1, 2, and 4, you have a creative writing assignment, and we're choosing some of the works that we're reading, and you are going to come up with a creative response to it. Okay, this is your chance to be creative and to think about the readings in different ways. The reason you don't have a creative writing assignment in week 3 is this is the week you're going to have your literary analysis essay due. Okay? That is due in week 3, and that counts as your final exam for the course. So you're going to start working on it in week 2. You're going to select a topic and complete an outline, and then you will write your essay at the end of week 3. Or you'll write it, but you'll submit it for a grade at the end of week 3. Okay, so that's a basic explanation of how the class is set up. Okay, so let's talk specifically about what you're doing in week 1. As I said, we're going to start by discussing what our initial idea of the American dream is. Okay, you're going to watch a video in the introduction discussion and then post your reactions to it. Okay, there are no wrong answers. So if you think the American dream is about one thing and your classmate thinks it's about something else, that's okay. All right? There aren't any wrong answers. So just post what comes to mind after watching the video. Okay, so after you do that, then go look at the presentation on the American dream and see how your concept of the American dream relates to what we're going to use as a definition for the class, at least to start with. All right, so we're going a little easy on you this week for readings. You're only going to be looking at 4 things. They're all fairly short, but I want you to think about each one as you read and consider how it's related to the idea of the American dream and or the American identity. And when I say American identity, I mean, what is an American like? What are the main traits that are associated with being American? What does it mean to be an American? Okay, so we're looking at Benjamin Franklin's The Way to Wealth. We're looking at a short story from Washington Irving called Rip Van Winkle. We're reading Nathaniel Hawthorne's Young Goodman Brown, and a wonderful short story from Willa Cather titled Neighbor Rozicki. Okay, so in the discussion, we're going to be focusing on the characters of Rip Van Winkle and Young Goodman Brown. All right, so each of them takes a journey, a symbolic journey of sorts. Okay, so as you're reading the story, yes, you'll see a physical kind of journey that they go on, but ask yourself, what does that journey symbolize? What kind of journey are they taking? Right, so that's going to be the topic of the discussion. What I want you to note about the discussions are always post first. You cannot gain access to the board unless you post your discussion. So you can't go and see what your classmates post and then compose your discussion. You have to create a post first. Okay, so with that said, please do not create a blank post to gain access. I understand that mistakes happen, So if you accidentally click to post, you better be ready to go with your own discussion within 10 minutes or you're going to get a 10-point deduction, okay? So you can't let you scour the board to find somebody else's reaction and then write your own. I want your thoughts. Okay, so be ready to post when you click on that create icon thread, or create thread icon. So be ready. Before you post your discussion, you're going to need to review the Literary Analysis Tools module. Because in week 1, you're going to practice integrating and citing direct quotes. Part of your grade is based on your ability to integrate and cite a direct quote. So make sure you review that module before you post in the discussion. Make sure to read the requirements so that you're meeting the minimum length. And again, don't do any research. Just do your own thing. Your answer is always, always, always going to be the right answer as long as you show me how you got there using quotes and examples from the readings, okay? It's okay, and it's expected that there will be more than one opinion, okay? So don't be, if you post your response and then when you gain access to the board you see that everybody else thinks something is something different, it's okay. Don't worry about that. Okay, so again, just a reminder, you also have that readings and authors quiz. Make sure to read all the readings and review the lecture in that module before you take the quiz. But you do have 3 attempts with the highest grade being your final grade. Okay? So, literary terms. You're going to learn about different genres. Remember, a genre is a category or classification of writing. You'll also be learning about the basic structure of a plot. There's a basic formula that writers use. We start with an exposition, and there's rising action, climax, and falling action, the falling action and the denouement. Okay, so you'll learn about those and what they mean. You'll also learn about different types of characters, different types of narrators. And then you'll also learn about some of the literary movements. We're going to look at some this week and some later on in the course. There is a lot of information in that literary terms module. Don't hesitate to print it out. Then you have it to refer to, throughout the course. Okay? So after you look at that module, you can take the quiz, and again, you have 3 attempts. Okay? You'll have a creative writing assignment this week, and that's going to focus on Willa Cather's Neighbor Raziki. What this assignment is asking you to do is consider how the story would be different if it were set in contemporary society. Okay, so it's not, Neighbor Raziki is set probably 150-ish years ago in the Midwest. Okay, so think about what's changed in the last 150 years. How might the story be different if it were set today? Okay, so you have 2 options. You can look at Raziki and how his life would be different with today's medical technology. Or you can look at any of the characters, Raziki or anybody else in the story, and look at a different aspect of technology. Okay, any character, any type of technology. And again, there's no right or wrong response as long as it makes sense. Okay, as long as it makes sense with what you know about the story and the characters. Okay, you should use the 3rd person point of view. Okay, unless you want to write from the point of view of one of the characters. So you could write as Raziki, and you could use the word I, pretending you're Raziki. Other than that, you should not be using the 1st person point of view. Do not refer to yourself. Okay, this is kind of a formal assignment, so you want to use the 3rd person point of view, again, unless you are assuming the point of view of one of the characters. Okay, so I know I've dumped a lot of information on you. I'm going to put a copy of this presentation in the announcements so that you can download it and look at it later. But that's your overview for the week. So get started, explore the course. I promise you, you can't break anything. Go ahead and look at everything. Ask me if you have questions. Again, I will be live on Tuesday morning from 9 to 9:30. Okay? So if you want to stop in, I will be in the classroom in the Kaiser Live area. Other than that, feel free to contact me. If you have questions about the course content or the assignments, use the Ask Questions page because somebody else might be wondering the same thing. If you have a personal concern or later on you have questions about your grades, it's better to email me because not everybody needs to know your business. Okay? I promise you, I will be checking the Ask Questions page at least once a day, so you will get prompt responses. That goes for my email as well. You'll get prompt responses from me if something happens and I don't have access to the class. We will get another instructor in here to help you out. So my traveling will not impact you in any way. Okay? I will be available to you, and if not, someone else will be. We will make sure of that. So again, get started. Enjoy the readings. You're going to find a wide variety of things. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're as excited about the class as I am. So thanks for watching. Have a great week, and I will see you in class.